Hi guys, welcome back again to another sewing tutorial on this channel. If you're stopping for the first time, thank you so much guys, you're highly welcome. In today's video we'll be learning how to make a bubu with the trendy Ashoki V neckline. If this is what you're interested in learning, kindly watch the video to the end, like, share, subscribe. So guys, without wasting much of your time guys, let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, so guys, let's get started. So guys, welcome back again. On the work table, I have my Ankara tribal fabric placed on fold. I placed it like on a 360 degrees fold, or I placed it having 4 layers of the Ankara. You place it on fold and then you fold it again. So you have like 4 layers. So guys, we'll start with the Ashoki first before we start drafting our pattern on the Ankara. So guys, this is the Ashoki fabric I have. It's placed on fold right here. It's just a band, a long strip of Ashoki and measuring around 64 inches. So on fold I have 32 inches. Okay, so the one band is for the front while the other band will be for the back. So what I will simply do here is to divide this Ashoki into 2 equal parts with my scissors. Right now it's placed on fold, so I will just cut it into 2 equal half, and then I will separate it. The next thing I will do is to place it on fold again, shear this long strip for the front pattern into 2 equal half. Okay, like I mentioned, one is for the front and the other one is for the back. Okay, so it's a V neckline, so automatically we have one band on one side of the V and the other band for the other side of the V. Okay, so as the tutorial proceeds, we'll get to understand why I shared this Ashoki fabric into 4, and the most important part of it is to determine the depth of my neckline. So now that I've shared this Ashoki fabric into 4, I know the depth I'm working with, which is about 14 inches because the total length I have is 16, and then the width I will be working with is 5 inches. So I went ahead to trim out the excess band because I had like a total of 7 inches, so I had to remove like 2 inches or 1.25 or 1.75, approximately 1.75 to 2 inches. So I trimmed out that part from the Ashoki, both from the front neckline band and then the back neckline band. Okay guys, so after trimming out the excess, what I'll simply do is to draft the pattern on the Ankara fabric. So on the fabric I came down by 1 inch to establish my shoulder line, I meant to say. So you come down by 1 inch to establish your shoulder line, and then from this point I'll go ahead and draft my neck width. The neck width I'll be working with is 4 inches. So right here I just went ahead to mark my waist measurements, but we'll get to see it as the tutorial proceed. So the neck width I'm working with is 4 inches, and I just want to explain that if the depth of your neck band or your neckline is below 16, probably to your waistline, I would advise that you make your neck width like 3 to 3.5 inches. Okay, so for me I'm working with 4 inches for the neck width and then 14 inches for the neck depth. So for the depth of my neckline, this point I went ahead to mark 2.25 simply because my neck band is 5 inches. So half an inch on that neck band will be subtracted for joining. So I have 4.5 divided by 2, I have 2.25. So that was why I established my neck depth for my neck depth. I went in on the neck depth by 2.25. I hope clearly understood. So I went ahead to draft my shoulder slope, which is 1.5, and then my round armhole measurements I'll be using for this bubu is 11 inches. Okay, so from that point I went in by 3 inches on the armhole. On the hip line I marked the quarter of my hip plus additional 4 inches. So I'll go ahead and link this measurement to my armhole, as you can see. Okay, you can see that I just drafted a curve around the armhole area, and then from the hip line I just went downward, extended the measurement I have on my hip, just square it down and upwards. Okay, so after doing this, I went ahead to use my scissors to cut out the excess pattern after drafting our bubu. It's just a simple tutorial, guys. So the next thing to do is to place the pattern on a spread. Since we're having the front pattern and the back pattern similar, I will just take out one fabric to explain what we need to do. So I placed my Ashoki right sides facing each other, and as you can see, I have like 2 inches below the neck depth, approximately 1.5 inches to 2 inches below the neck depth, which is very important that you have this excess below. Okay, if you're short of this excess, is going to affect your V neckline. So I'm going to use my pin to secure it, take it to my sewing machine and stitch it by 1/2 inch. So I'm just drawing 1/2 inch below the neck depth to guide me where I will stop when stitching. Okay, so if you're running your stitch, know that you're going to stop where that line 1/2 inch below your neckline. So after securing my Ashoki with my pins, I took it to my sewing machine and then I stitched it by 1/2 inch, ensuring that I back stitched around that mark I created, that line I drew, 1/2 inch line I drew beneath the neck depth. So I also used a pin for the other part, and then I went ahead to stitch it by 1/2 inch, as you can see me doing. Okay, so I will just stitch this and then I would show you what to do next. Okay, so after stitching, the next thing I'll do is to flip it open. As you can see, it's still in the same way so as we stitched. So I'll open up my seam. You can see the seam is 1/2 inch. You go ahead and notch it. Okay, notch it close, notch it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So in doing this, you help your Ashoki band to relax properly. So you can see what I have here. You can see that that notch I gave by the side of the seam close to the seam line. Ensure that it doesn't cross the notches, doesn't cut your thread. Just notch it so that the collar can relax properly. Okay, so after notching, I flipped it inwards and I secured it with my pin. The next thing I'll simply do is to grip both the Ankara fabric and the Ashoki band, secured it with my pin, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and then stitch it. Okay, ensure that you stitch this point so that it gets stabilized. Okay, so I'll take it to my sewing machine and then I'll run a stitch. Okay, so this is the importance of why you need to have excess sticking out below your neck depth. So I'm going to be stitching it right away. So you can see the excess and the pins I use in gripping both the Ashoki, the 2 Ashokis and the Ankara fabric. So I'll backstitch first and then I'll stitch it and then I'll backstitch towards the end. After stitching, I'm going to be using my scissors to trim out the excess fabric I have there. And then if you have a weaving machine, it's also advisable that you weave. Okay, at every point you iron and then you weave so that you don't have your threads fraying from the Ashoki or the Ankara fabric as well. So guys, after doing this, this is what we have. And have in mind that whatever you do for the front is also applicable for the back, unless your pattern is different from mine. If you're drafting a different pattern for the back neckline, then you shouldn't be doing this. But if your front pattern and your back pattern is the same, this is what you should be having. So guys, for this particular bubu, I made use of a pocket. I attached my pockets. I think I've done a tutorial, one of my bubu that I had pockets. I placed the pockets. You can get, I'll drop the link in the description so that you can have a detailed tutorial on that. So I wanted this tutorial to be very short. So I attached my pockets and then I'm going to be closing up my shoulder and then running my stitch through the side, passing it through the pocket and stitching it down. So I'll be having a slit on the side of this bubble, so I'm not going to be running my stitch completely down, guys. So guys, and you can also place a belt. I also attached a belt for the bubble. So thank you so much, guys. This is the end result. I used the belt for the front pattern. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial.